Hello and welcome to another Murders at Karlov Manor draft. I'm Paul Cheon, and today we are currently sitting at Mythic 117. Had a couple bad drafts last night, so we kind of slid down just a little bit, but let's head into this draft and get going right away. Before this draft starts, I did want to say, if you wanted to support this channel, I did launch my Patreon channel. The link is in the description below. Shout out to all the current patrons. Really do appreciate it. Okay, that's an Ezreal. You know, it's nice when Arena just makes it easy for me. I guess I can talk about the other cards, but I'm taking the Chief of Police for the Azorius color combination. We're going to take Ezreal here. Surveillance Monitor is also a card I really like. Probably would have been my pick if Ezreal wasn't in the pack. There's 17 uncommons in here. Well, there's at least 5. Meddling Youths is okay. Crawl Whipcracker is also okay, although I don't like starting black-green. Galvanize is the best of the commons here, but I don't mind Out Cold and On the Job. Certainly don't want to first pick them. But of course, we're going to take first pick Ezreal, and hopefully, the blue-white color combination will be open here. The question is, after first picking an Ezreal, right, in the second pick, do you take a blue-white card that's mediocre, or do you take a good card in another color? So for example, in this pack, the best blue or white card is Seasoned Consultant, or maybe Bubble Smuggler, depending on what you like. However, Hard-Hitting Question and Person of Interest are much better cards than the Seasoned Consultant. So that's the thing. Do we just want to force Azorius and take the Consultant, or do we want to delve into some other colors? Well, we've drafted a lot of Boros decks and a lot of Person of Interest decks, so that's not kind of where I want to go. Let's just take the Seasoned Consultant here. Let's just take it and see where the packs go. I want to play with Ezreal. Sometimes you just want to play with your rare. And now we're going to take Novice Inspector. This is a phenomenal pack. There's a second Person of Interest if we chose to take that. Although I think if I didn't take the Seasoned Consultant, I probably would have taken the Hard-Hitting Prey. And then it would have made, this pick pretty difficult because there's also Glintweaver. But as is, I'm taking Novice Inspector over Fuss Bother and Cold Case Cracker, but noting that there's also Glintweaver and Person of Interest in the pack. So this is quite a strong pack. I don't actually know what's better between Novice Inspector and Fuss Bother. I could see Fuss Bother being better, actually. But, I mean, this is a detective. I'm hoping to get some synergies here. I'm just going to take the Novice Inspector out of that pack. But not entirely sure if that's correct. Here we have the choice between On the Job and Bubble Smuggler. Everything else is kind of mediocre. There's also Cornered Crook, but I kind of want to stay within my blue-white lane. Now, if you draft white, there's definitely far less ways to go wide, so I don't really prioritize On the Job as much when I'm blue-white, unless I have a bunch of inside sources. So I'm wondering whether or not I want to take, for example, the On the Job here or the Bubble Smuggler, just to make sure I have another cheap threat for my deck. You know, I think even though I said that, I think I'm still going to take the On the Job, just because blue didn't necessarily seem open. And by taking the On the Job, we can just continue taking white cards until it's pretty obvious that we need to go into a different color, right? So for example, right now, it's like white seems maybe open to some degree. We did get that third pick Inspector, and now we have an On the Job. We're not seeing a single blue card, right? And now in this pack, we have the choice. The best cards are Topiary Panther, Chases on Murder, and Hard-Hitting Question. I believe Hard-Hitting Question is the best of those. So I'm going to take Hard-Hitting Question here. I think Griffnod Tracker is just too bad of a card to take, whereas I think Seasoned Consultant, at least it's a 2-drop. And Murder, I think, is a worse card than Hard-Hitting Question. So I'll take Hard-Hitting Question here in case we do want to switch into potentially green. And that's a late Nervous Gardener and a Crowd Control Warden. That is a late Nervous Gardener and a Crowd Control Warden, but that's a Projector Inspector. So I'm going to take the Projector Inspector just because this does feel like a signal that green could be open with that late Hard-Hitting Question. But Projector Inspector in Detectives is quite strong, and it just leads to a very streamlined deck. My brain is telling me that I should take this Nervous Gardener, but my heart is telling me to take Projector Inspector. And this time around, I'm going to follow my heart. I'm going to follow my heart. All right, Mistveiled Plains is not really playable. I'm going to take the Panther here because if somehow we do get cut off, I could still maybe go down the green path if the blue cards are just not flowing. Now I'll take a Fanatical Strength over Slice from the Shadows. In case we end up into a green-white deck, I'll take the Cap. I'm not a big fan of the Cap, even in Detectives, really, but I'll take it here. And now we have Dramatic Accusation and Hotshot Investigators, and I really dislike Dramatic Accusation, so I'll take the Investigators. It's a Detective. You could play it in your decks. But it looks like we are in a color combination that might be a little bit contested here, but let's still try to make this work. We have 6 playable cards out of pack number 1. That's great. Or not. All right, so here we have the choice between Projector Inspector and Lost in the Maze. And I want to take the Lost in the Maze. I think it's just a really cool card. I don't know if it's better or worse than Out Cold, but definitely a card that I just want to play with a little bit more. I do like the Projector Inspector in these types of decks, but let's try the Lost in the Maze here. Nice way to finish out games, even protect your creatures in a pinch. And now, ooh, the best card in this pack is a Homicide Investigator, but we are nowhere near that. I guess I'll put the Thinking Cap back in here. And wow, this pack is pretty underwhelming. I don't really feel like I need a second copy of On the Job, so it's really between Burden of Proof and Reasonable Doubt. And I guess in Detectives, Burden of Proof can be okay, but I actually don't mind Reasonable Doubt. It's very early for a Reasonable Doubt, and it's an extremely disappointing pick, but we do want early interaction, and we're playing a deck that has Projector Inspector, so you can loot it away in the late game. So I'm going to take it here as another 2-mana play for my Blue-White Detectives deck. And now we have this pack. We have Auspicious Arrival, Haas the Vigilante, Crime Stopper Sprite, and Deduce as options within our color combination. I generally feel like I get enough combination of tricks, although that's normally when I'm red-white. I'm wondering here if I want to take something like the Auspicious Arrival, although I think I'm just going to take the Crime Stopper Sprite just to continue filling out our curve. The blue-white decks tend to be tempo decks, and the flyer here is not bad. So I'll take Crime Stopper Sprite over Auspicious Arrival. And then now we have the choice between Jaded Analyst and Fairy Snoop. And that one's pretty interesting. Jaded Analyst is a 2-drop. I generally don't really like that card unless I have a bunch of Projector Inspectors. So that's one option, or the other option is the Fairy Snoop. I think I'm just going to take the Fairy Snoop over the Jaded Analyst. I just have not been that impressed by this creature. And the Fairy Snoop, at least, is also a detective. Costs a lot of mana to actually use, but I think there could be some. It could be useful in some ways. Now we have the pack between Forum Familiar and On the Job. Now, is this the type of deck that I want a second copy of On the Job? I mean, Forum Familiar is also a card I don't like very much, although we do have some decent targets to bounce. So maybe it is something I can play. No, I'm just going to take another On the Job. Like, if we somehow end up getting a bunch of inside sources and stuff, I think that'll be good for us. Now, this is a pack that's interesting. I think Cold Case Cracker is a better card than the Seasoned Consultant, but with only a 1-drop and a 2-drop, this is a situation where I just need to make sure that I can fill out the curve for my deck. This is a detective. So I'm going to take Consultant over the Cold Case Cracker. Again, I do feel like the Cold Case Cracker is a better card. And this pack is completely ridiculous, and I guess I'm just in the wrong colors. Look at this pack. 7th pick, there's a Galvanized, Nervous Gardener, Vengeful Creeper, Repulsive Mutation, and Blood Spatter Analysis. Now, our mana fixing is just not good at all, so I think I just can't really afford to take Repulsive Mutation here. So I'm just going to take the Unauthorized Exit, which is a pretty good card in these decks. I don't even mind playing up to 2 copies of this if I'm looking to be more of a blue-white tempo deck, but definitely taking weaker cards out of, a bunch of different options that we might have. I don't think Agency Outfitter is especially good. And now I'll take a Burden of Proof. It's an okay combat trick, and I guess the Jaded Analyst tabled. And based on our deck so far, based on this deck so far, we might have to play them. We shall see. Because, you know, we have an Ezreal. Last time we drafted Ezreal, we never drew it. We have an Alquist now as well. So hopefully we do draw some of these. Alquist is pretty sweet. I mean, just the floor of this is a 3-mana 3/3 Vigilance Detective, ETB Investigate, which is already great. And then in the late game, you can pay a bunch of mana to turn your clues into Sphinx's Revelations, which is blue X, blue white X, draw X cards, gain X life. So that does make cards like Auspicious Arrival and On the Job a little bit better, because anything that generates clues is nice. X Specialist, of course, is good, but I believe the Alquist is much better. So we're going to take that there. And I don't know if I'm going to play all these spells, but we'll leave it here for now. I don't think we're in a position to be too selective here. So I wonder if Mistway Spy is decent here, right? Because we're going to have a bunch of like flyers and such, and we're kind of looking to tempo people out. It's not a card I typically like playing, but this does, if there is a deck that where it can be good, it's a detective too. I think this could be the deck for it. So let's give it a shot. Let's try some different things in this draft. Yeah, green was definitely open. That's the third pick, Killer Among Us. However, there is a Cold Case Cracker, and in this instance, it is enough better than the Museum Night Watch, where I do want to take it. Now, I wish I really had a decent payoff card. I don't have the Private Eye, sadly, but I mean the deck's still looking okay. I'm very happy to get a 4th pick, Makeshift Binding. That's a Greenbelt Radical. That's an out cold. So it does feel like green-white should have been the colors we should have been in, but of course, Makeshift Binding is a card I'm happy with in either deck, so not too upset about that. Now we have the choice between Hard Evidence and Projector Inspector. That's interesting. So Projector Inspector does seem pretty good here. We have Crime Stopper Sprite, and we do have these 2 copies of Jaded Analysts, which does make the Projector Inspectors better. So I think I want to do that. In Oath, like I think there's a pretty big difference between a 1/2 crab that investigates and an 0/3. So I'm just going to take the Inspector here. Just because our deck is almost all detectives, it's got to be pretty great. That's a late Gleaming Geardrake. Crowd Control Warden's okay, but I'm just going to take Cold Case Cracker here. Pretty happy with that. And I don't know that I'm going to play a 3rd copy of Unauthorized Exit. That's another late Repulsive Mutation. I think I'm just going to shore up my mana base here and take an Escape Tunnel. Here we'll take a Defenestrated Phantom. Probably not playing it. Now I'll take a Dramatic Accusation, and given the fact that we are pretty light on removal, I might play this card anyways as a necessary evil. Benthic Criminologist, not really the type of card you want in blue-white. Very nice card if you have 1 or 2 Detective Satchels, as it's a nice way to just... You can sack your Thopter, that's already... Even if you use your clues, you can sack your Thopter to draw a card, and then that triggers the Satchel again. So you can just... Every time you attack, you can draw a card, which is nice. And I think this is our deck. That's a Vengeful Creeper with 2 cards left in the pack. No respect. No respect for Vengeful Creeper. I like Vengeful Creeper. I don't know why there's no respect for the Vengeful Creeper. All right, we're probably going to cut one of these spells. There's 9 here, and then I think I'm just going to play all these creatures, including the double Jaded Analyst. Now, we do have Novice Inspector, Dead Cold... Oh, the Hard Evidence tabled. So I think that the way that this deck is looking to win is with the flyers. We have the Mistway Sprite. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flyers. So probably going to lean pretty heavily into that. Dramatic Accusation is not the best removal spell, but it might be a necessary evil. I think On the Job actually is not very good here. We have just lots of creatures that can't really attack. And we have no cards in our deck that's looking to go wide. So I think I want to cut that. I think I want to cut Dramatic Accusation just because I have Burden of Proof as well. So I have Burden of Proof and Makeshift Binding as another way to shrink creatures down. I'll keep the Jaded Analyst just to make sure that I have enough things to play early. So this gives us 6 things to play early along with hard Evidence. And in the late game, I mean, you can still cast Deduce and find other ways to attack with it if you absolutely need. But it's just a nice body to just trade with anything while you can try to win with your flyers. So let's try that. Definitely don't want to play any swamps. Let's go 9 islands. We have a lot more blue than white cards, so let's just try 9 and 7. And we will give it a go. Okay. Notably, I did make one small change to my deck. I did cut a Jaded Analyst for a... and I don't like the card very much, but I have 15 detectives in my deck. So I'm trying out the cap. We'll see how that goes. We shall see how that goes. I think I'm going to bounce this just for tempo. And I do want lands, so we'll keep that. It's fine. Let's play the Inspector. Might pitch, probably pitching the Fairy Snoop, actually. Actually, we can probably pitch Island, given that we found another island. Unscrupulous Agent. Okay. Yeah, now we probably... Actually, we probably just get rid of the Investigators. I'm going to be looting every turn, so it just makes... well, I guess I'm not going to be looting every turn. Did our opponent draft mono black? I just felt like it's going to be pretty tough to get to 6 mana. And I have a lot of decent plays early on anyways. Alright, so they're Rakdos. The Homicide Investigators definitely is annoying, but they're not doing a ton of damage to me right now. They do have lots and lots of removal. Wow, they milled Incinerator of the Guilty. Oh my gosh. Alright, so that's a little bit scary though, because if the Blood Spatter Analysis gets to 5, they get the Incinerator back, which is very good. So this attack, I'm going to have to take because they're representing some kind of a trick here. So I'm going to keep up Unauthorized Exit next turn. And when they go for the attack next turn, that's when I'm going to use my trick. Let's play Fairy Snoop and see what happens here. All right, so they're taking a more measured approach here. Let's block and block. Here comes a combat trick of some sort. Could be a Toxin Analysis. Could be the Chase is on, and it is a Felonious Rage. Wow, that's actually really bad for them. I don't even need to bounce it. I just let that happen. Now, if they have another combat trick, sure, they get me, but I just flip over Fairy Snoop, and this agent still dies. Now, they do get a clue here, and they make a 2/2, so it's still pretty tough for us to attack. We're at 10 life. And okay, so that's a Projector Inspector. Although the Seasoned Consultant is kind of a better blocker here, and I kind of want to keep up Unauthorized Exit still. So let's crack this clue, just to see if we find a better option here. Crime Stopper Sprite is also not bad. Crime Stopper Sprite is also not bad. I wonder if I want to play that this turn. It's pretty solid, just because I can still keep the Fairy Snoop back. I play the Crime Stopper Sprite and tap down the Person of Interest, and then I can start deploying these creatures. Alternatively, I can play the Seasoned Consultant, but yeah, I'm just going to play the Crime Stopper Sprite. Let's tap down the Menace creature here. And then we'll just pass for one turn. And then next turn, we can start deploying everything else that we have. But we have both a 3/3 and a 1/4 body in play. Both are very, very good against what they have. This just leaves us vulnerable to a combat trick that they could have drawn this turn, because we don't have the mana to cast the Unauthorized Exit. Oh, that's... Unscrupulous Agent is very annoying, I will say. Huh? No, Projector Inspector still has to be better, just because it allows us to filter through any excess lands that we might find. Our opponent doesn't have a great attack here, unless they just want to get some triggers here. And it does feel like I just want to prevent those triggers, so I'm just going to block with the Fairy Snoop here instead. And yeah, they just can't do much from that. Now we'll play Projector Inspector. And I'm going to go ahead and just loot this Escape Tunnel away. Or... yeah, we can loot this Escape Tunnel away. I'm going to keep this Plains in my hand. And now, let's attack with... can we attack with the Cold Case Cracker now? It's such an excellent blocker, though. It's an incredible blocker. I can definitely attack with Crime Stopper Sprite. And that's a less good blocker. And I'm at 10 life. Let's see. Yeah, let's attack just with the Crime Stopper for now. Because, you know, if they draw like a removal spell or something too, that's also pretty bad. All right. Person of Interest down. Blood Spatter Analysis gets to trigger, and they do get a clue. So because they're getting all these resources now, oh, they keep milling really good cards. Barb Servitor, okay. Yeah, I think we might need to shift gears just a little bit here. We might want to shift gears just a little bit and try to find something to play this turn. So for that reason, I'm going to bounce this 2/2 here, kill it. I will draw the Jaded Analyst because it does give me another blocker, and I do get to still loot, and I can loot away this plane, so it's still just a play for the turn. And that is Ezreal. Great. So let's go ahead and attack with our 2 flyers now, and try to get them low here, because now they're putting on a lot more pressure. The Barb Servitor will be drawing them cards. It will definitely be drawing them cards. I don't think I want to take 4 damage here for no reason. I mean, it is 1 versus 4. It's kind of close, I guess. Polygraph Orb. Okay, so they're getting to kind of close to almost suicidal range here. Wow, and they binned a Person of Interest. Now for us, we just have to be careful that this doesn't get to 5 counters. Okay, that's a Snarling Gorehound. It looks like they're not activating the Polygraph Orb. Okay. And Blood Spatter Analysis only triggers off creatures dying. Wow, they have double Homicide Investigator. That's pretty great. Ooh, Makeshift Binding is also interesting. I think it's just going to be worse than playing the Ezreal, though. I'm not going to loot. I mean, there's not going to be something better than Makeshift Binding, so... let's attack with our 2 flyers. And pass. So gonna be really hard for them to deal with Ezreal unless they have exactly Extract the Confession for the Ezreal, which would be very annoying. I don't think we die still, though. We can still block enough things. And they had Extract the Confession. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep, and Blood Spatter goes to 4. They get to return the Incinerator here, because I have to block, I think. Oh, this is so close. What is the last card in your hand? So they found Extract the Confession there for the Ezreal. We do have Makeshift Binding, so if their plan is to return the Incinerator and If their plan is to return the Incinerator and play it, then we're in a lot of trouble. But we are at 9. Maybe we can just take a lot of damage? This is so close. Undercity Eliminator. So that triggers the analysis. Now remember, when they get a creature back, they don't actually put it into play. So this dragon, if they get it, will come into play. I think they're going to probably go for my Cold Case Cracker unless they think they can kill me. But I do have a Makeshift Binding to clear the way. So this has become extremely, extremely close. What a turn. They went Extract the Confession plus Undercity Eliminator here. Bloodspatter will trigger. They will get their dragon back. They're going to get a clue off the Homicide Investigator. Just rack those rares over here. Yeah, go get your Dargon. Yep, and they killed my flyer. They killed my flyer. Yeah, take your damage. Take your damage. Alrighty. Well. What do we do? Do we want to gain the life now? I'm going to crack this clue to see if I find something. Because I can still cast Hard Evidence and Makeshift Binding. I'm going to attack with my 2 flyers. This gets them down to 1. So the Barb Servitor can no longer attack me. It doesn't feel like they have a lethal attack. Especially if I cast Hard Evidence. I have 3 blockers. 1, 2, 3, and I take 2, 3, 4. Even if they find a removal spell, I take 6. So I'm going to hold this Makeshift Binding for the dragon and see what they do. Very, very tight game. Like I said, if they kill this, the Projector Inspector, I can still block Reckless Detective and Undercity Eliminator and take 6 damage and go to 2. And I don't want to play around Removal Spell Plus. They also have the Polygraph Orb, and that makes things also interesting because I can either... Oh, if they activate the Polygraph Orb, I can just draw a card off my clue and then just discard the card that I draw from the clue. So I don't take any damage from the orb. Now, if they have the Chase is on, we can still just block everything. So I think overall, this is a pretty good place to be, especially because they also just can't attack us with the Barb Servitor. Oh, okay, that's cute. Let's just block with the crab here. We might be able to, if we draw, for example, like Lost in the Maze or something, we can just tap everything down. So just having extra creatures that can attack can be useful. Incinerator, okay. Glad we kept on to this, we held on to this Makeshift Binding. And we have 2 lethal flyers here, so they can't have multiple removal spells. Or, I mean, they could, but even if they have 1 removal spell, we got them. What a close game. Makeshift Binding, your Incinerator. Three in the air. Woo! That was a tight one. Games like that, I enjoy. I enjoy games like that one. I enjoy games like that one. Okay, let's go. Oh, man. This hand is something else. It's, I'm gonna call this hand the Last Pick All-Stars. It's okay. Like, this hand at least does a pretty good job of staving off the opposition, is what I'm gonna say. It staves off the opposition. Oh, don't mind if I do. I was like, should I keep up Unreasonable Doubt? And then I was thinking, well, it's just going to counter a face down creature. I feel like this is still going to be useful at some point later on. Rot Farm Mortipede. Okay. Here's my question, though. Can the Mortipede handle a 4/4 Jaded Analyst? Didn't think so. All right. So they're doing some kind of Insidious Dreams nonsense, probably. Let's counter that. Submit 0. Nervous Gardener. Okay. Let's play the Cracker now. I considered moving over the Thinking Cap, but I feel like I'd rather just have it on the Jaded Analyst for... Oh, no. That's kind of annoying. Hotshot Investigators would have been really good. Okay. Well, we don't have much to do with our mana, so let's just do this. Attack for 4, and then move it back. And we'll pass. What is this? Like a Reckless Detective, maybe? Undercover Crocodile for whatever? Okay. Go back to your hand. I mean, we call that a tempo play. Do I want to attack with this Jaded Analyst? I think they're just going to chump block with Rubblewelt Maverick and grow their Mortipede. I mean, maybe I crack this. The thing is, I'm not going to use Lost in the Maze right now. So maybe if I find another 3 mana card, it can be good. I guess I wouldn't mind trading... Well, no, because they get to gain a bunch of life, too. Alright, let's crack this clue and just see what we get here. Alright. Let's equip the Cracker. Attack. Let's equip the Jaded Analyst again. Oh, that's so... Oh, man. Alright, well... I'm going to keep this in play just so they can't kill my tap creatures. That's really annoying. Alright, whatever. I mean, you could make the argument that I should have kept the land, but if I drew another land, I would have liked to Lost in the Maze for a lot. So... It's okay, this is a 3-turn clock. As long as we don't kill the Rubblebelt Mavericks, so the Mortipedes don't gain life. This is kind of our game plan here. So this is going to flip over and be Gimonstrous. Guess we just block and make him flip it over. All right. I mean, this is our plan. They have 1 turn to find an answer to the Cracker. Or to give the Rotfar Mortipede lifelink or whatever. Which detective do I equip? Let's put one here. Put it here. All right. If you don't have an answer for the Cold Case Cracker, or have a way to... Wow! They just didn't have any removal. Or any way to collect evidence, right? If they were able to find either, they would have been able to race me, or I wouldn't have been able to finish them off with the Cold Case Cracker. Would have bought them an extra turn. And that Crowd Control Warden was kind of getting out of hand. All right, we go first. I'm going to keep this. I need one more land. I have double Projector Inspector. I do have a Reasonable Doubt as well. I almost, if they play a 2-drop, I almost want to bounce it here. Okay, well, I'm just going to counter this one. I just feel like this one could be problematic. So I'm just going to counter it. And of course we missed. Of course we missed. Okay. Let's desalinate ourselves. Desalinization. We want to just keep hitting our land drops so that we can move around our thinking caps and such. They are keeping up 3 mana. I'm going to play another Projector Inspector. All right, let's keep looting. Just keep finding lands. Let's pitch this Fairy Snoop. Let's pitch this Hotshot Investing. We just didn't. We drew 3 cards. We drew 3 cards. Is this just yesterday all over again? It's okay. We have Deduce. We have Crime Stopper Sprite. We have Deduce and Crime Stopper Sprite. So I don't know. I'm just saying things. Those are things that we possess. All right, we drew a land. That is fantastic. We drew a land. That is fantastic. Yay. So this means that I can feel like I kind of want to save the Crime Stopper Sprite. Yeah, but it's a nice beater too. Maybe not. I do have the unauthorized exit. So let's go ahead and tap down the Nervous Gardener. Evidence 6. Draw a card. Discard Deduce. Well, it does make a... Hold on. Nah, let's just discard. Let's not go crazy. Hard Evidence. I don't think I need to be double looting every turn. And so having the opportunity to kill a face-down creature that can flip up into something much bigger, I think is pretty good for us. Okay. Well, that is a Tolsimir. Let's attack with our Flyer. And let's play. It's actually kind of interesting. Like, do I want to play Alquist or do I want to just play Novice Inspector? Because my plan is to bounce this. I guess I'll play Alquist. It's just a bigger card. I guess I should have looted. I just don't want to deck myself. And both cards in my hand are quite good. If they use a bite spell, that would be really annoying, right? If they try to use Tolsimir and bite the Alquist, I guess we just let that happen. Okay, well, they played Tolsimir. I don't... So they're splashing Connect the Dots? I did not think this was a splashable... The type of card you want to splash. It looks like they have some kind of a bite spell here, so this turn's not going to be ideal for us. If they target Voja, that's really good. Okay, Inside Source. Case of the Gateway Express. Yeah, that's incredible. Proft is down. Well, hopefully they attack with everything. All right, so this is really good. I'm going to bounce Voja. We're going to keep Ezreal. We're going to eat Tolsimir. I think I had to let them attack, though, to let me eat their creature. But obviously, it's not ideal because they have Case of the Gateway Express. I really want to... I really want to wait till I have one more mana source before I deploy the Ezreal. They have 3 cards in hand still, and they have lots of removal spells available to them. So let's go ahead and crack this clue, because I'm going to play Novice Inspector and I'm going to want to loot. Okay. Take action, and we will discard the island. Okay. And then we can attack. Oh, that's interesting. Do we attack with both? Yeah, why not? Killing 2 creatures when the Case of the Gateway Express has been flipped is pretty good, I think. Let's go ahead and equip the Novice Inspector here. We have a nice 2/4 blocker, and then we can play land number 6 just because we want to use it for the Ezreal anyway. Oh, hello there! Incinerator of the Guilty. 7/6. Let's go find Binding. Well, let's go ahead and... Is this a detective? It sure is. All right. No attacks. Just Tolsimir and Incinerator of the Guilty, huh? I mean, they're going to be able to sweep my board here if this thing gets in. I mean, this card is bananas. Definitely bananas. So if they have a combat trick like +3/+3 and trample, we're in trouble. I mean, a lot of different ways we could be in trouble here. If they just bite down on Crime, my Crime Stopper sprite, I'm in trouble. Glint Weaver works. Oh my gosh, it's a 10-9. It's a 10-9, so they're still going to be able to wipe my board. That's disgusting. Well, look, sometimes you play against decks with more bombs. I thought my Ezreal was going to get it. You know what's weird? It's like, I just feel like this card's good, but it doesn't seem to just completely dominate games, even though it's got like a ridiculous win rate. I don't know. So what is this? Let me read this one more time. Collect Evidence X. Does this trample? It tramples. I'm not going to crack my clue to gain life here. I'm just going to... I need to use these clues to try to find makeshift binding to get back into this game. But the thing is, I need to block with everything anyways, just because Incinerator is going to trigger, right? So... Okay, land into... Just give me another land. Okay, false. I got false hope here. That would have been better in a previous turn. All right, Lost in the Maze. Oh my gosh. Lucarv, you're putting on a show. You're putting on a show, and with the good game. Great manners. Great. Just well-mannered. Well-mannered. So twice we played our Ezreal, and both times, once it just died immediately, and then the other time, they just played a bigger dragon. One of these days, it'll win the game for us. Alrighty. Not that much to do early, but we do have the unauthorized exit to get the tempo back with a little surveilling. Then maybe Deduce can help us find something to play turn 3. Oh, perfect. Senor Krabby. All right, playing against Gruul. Not the most impressive start from the opposition. But it seems like they have a draw that's just looking to really curve out. So they would just want to get in for as much damage as they can. Gonna just cast this Deduce. Alright, Alquist was a phenomenal draw. We're definitely gonna play it. If they kill it, they kill it. The thing is, I mean, look, I know this card's great and it's got a bunch of flashy text. At the end of the day, if you still play a turn 3 and they kill it, you still have a clue left over. So you're still up a card on that exchange, right? So it's completely fine. They are putting some pressure on here because they did use Bite Down on Crime that turn. Still feels like I should play Cold Case Cracker here. Now, if they do attack, right, they could attack. And if they attack, it signals that they have a combat trick, right? And if that's the case, then I probably just block with my crab. This could be a Gadget Technician. And they only attack with the face down card. All right, we'll take it. Next turn is when kind of the coast is a little more clear here, where we can just start deploying some of our other cards. And, you know, interestingly enough, I think this turn I do nothing. The reason being is I have multiple 2-mana cards that I want to cast. And so I want to be able to keep up Reasonable Doubt plus Exit plus Burden of Proof, plus the option to crack my clues. Okay. So they attack with everything. I think this is a Gadget Technician. So I'll block here, and I'll block here. That's a Fanatical Strength. And we can bounce this with the unauthorized exit. I can use Burden of Proof on my Cold Case Cracker, but that doesn't get it done. So yeah, let's just go ahead and bounce this. Not ideal. Not ideal. I suppose I could have blocked the V2 Ghazi Inspector so that I could also keep up Reasonable Doubt. Oh, it was just an Offender at Large, and I do want this land. Okay. And another V2 Ghazi Inspector. Okay. So they have Offender at Large. That's a 2/4. We can go Novice Inspector. And I think I'm still going to pass. Because we have 4 clues that we can eat through as well. We're certainly countering that. Target nothing. And now we can crack this clue. They don't have a good attack. And we can try to get back into the game. Because, I mean, we're up a lot of cards here, right? So here we'll play Projector Inspector, start adding to our board. Discarding. The Thinking Cap actually seems pretty good here. So I'm going to discard this Tunnel. I know we said we wanted lands, but I believe that this Thinking Cap is going to give us some pretty good value. So I'm actually going to play it here and move it onto something. Probably my Cold Case Cracker. Do I want to attack? The thing is, I'm at 11, they're at 22. Probably not. We'll keep this back. Because this is a turn where they can face up a Fender at large and get in an attack. So I want to keep the Cold Case Cracker back. All right, so they passed. Wait, that's the interesting thing, right? They passed, and they did not... I mean, they're going to flip this up, right? This is just going to be like a Crowd Control Warden or something. I don't know. I'm going to draw a card here. See if I find a land. We did find a land. Happy with that. And because they passed, I'm going to pass and let them flip over their face down card. Okay, it's a Flourishing Bloomkin. That's fine. We can try to get some tempo back by playing the Hotshot Investigators. But here, my plan is to crack both of my clues end of turn. I can still block this Flourishing Bloomkin if necessary. What did they even target here? Oh, the Bloomkin? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can just double block here. All right. That's a trade I'm more than happy with. We have another Cold Case Cracker in our hand. And that is a shock on Projector Inspector. I think I want to use this to save it. So let's go ahead and save it. Crack our clue. All right. Yeah, things are starting to look very good for us. They have an Offender at large. I don't really want to attack with the Projector Inspector. I can play this Hotshot Investigators to bounce the Offender at large. I don't know if I want to give them the option to play it face down and turn it face up on demand. I think I'm just going to play out the Cold Case Cracker here. And we can start looting away lands. Let's see. And then I can equip... It's actually quite interesting. I can play the Jaded Analyst too. Let's just add a lot to the board here. Let's loot again. Ooh, this card. The Island. Can attack. And we'll pass. Lost in the Maze was a really, really good draw. And honestly, I don't mind... Okay, so... Okay, I was like, that is a suicidal attack. Suicidal attack. Let's go ahead and equip the Cold Case Cracker. Oh, what the... Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm just going to say. I just don't think they have a great attack. And ooh, that's also really nice. Let's see. What's their graveyard look like? The thing is, I can just keep getting in with my flyers. Collect Evidence 6. Just target their reach creature. Discard a land. I guess the Analyst could also attack, but they can block with the Rumblebelt Maverick. Let's attack with the Cold Case Cracker. And I actually think I'm going to just move this to Jaded Analyst and then crack a clue. Goblin Massmaker is not going to... And then next turn, I think I'm going to go for a large Lost in the Maze and just kind of close out the game here. I can Lost in the Maze for a lot. All right, so let's go ahead and move this to the Crime Stopper sprite. Actually, is this just lethal? What? Hold on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I need to draw a card. Oh, I shouldn't have moved the cap. I should not have moved the cap. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I just straight up had a lethal attack and I just did not go for it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I can Lost in the Maze for 3. It's okay. It's okay. We'll be fine. Yeah. Let's just do this for 4. All right. Ooh, Crab got in too. All right. A little misstep there, definitely, but we'll note that, I mean, our opponent definitely got flooded too, but our tricks went a long way. Just all of our 2-mana, burden of proof and the counter and the bounce spells, they all just did a lot. And that's also part of why I think the bounce spells are just better than you would expect. A large part of it is because combat tricks are so good. So people are prioritizing and playing combat tricks very highly. So one of the best counters for combat tricks are the bounce spells. Okay, on the play. Turn 1 hard evidence. I'll take it. Okay. No attack. I know I can use this for value later, but I just feel like it's too early right now to try to save my clues to be able to use the Sphinx's Revelation ability. I think I just want to get more information and just kind of evaluate every turn. I wonder if Projector Inspector is better or worse than Alquist. Do I want to trade Alquist for the Guardian? Probably not. Yeah, let's just play the Projector Inspector. We'll get the loot, pitch an island. And this is, for example, they're Boros, right? They're going to play a face-down creature here. If they play Inside Source, that's annoying. But if they attack me, then I can just block. Interesting that they attacked me before playing a face-down card, because they're going to play a face-down card here. So here, I just don't block. They have Auspicious Arrival or the Chases on. Now they're going to go post-combat Innocent Bystander, pumping the Guardian. So they got in for less damage, but they're basically saying, hey, hello, I have a combat trick. So now, wait, I'm super dumb. I thought I was being smart. I'm really dumb. And let me tell you why. I should just block with the crab. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, doesn't matter. They played Agris. Yeah, we should be at 20. All right, well, that's an Agris. Oh, Lost in the Maze. That buys us some time. I guess I'm going to fire it off here to just give me time. And then I can hotshot Investigators as well. Okay. Then I can bounce the... Oh, well, no, they can still kill my Cold Case, can't they? Okay, so that's not what I'm going to do. I should be at a higher life total. My bad. Well, actually, with Lost in the Maze in play, they can't actually kill my Cold Case Cracker, because it's always going to be tapped. All right. Oh, hello! Okay. One good rare deserves another, am I right? One good rare deserves another. So here it says, tap creatures you control have hexproof. So I just attack with my 2 flyers. There's not too much they can do. Okay, so no, that was really good. So now they get a bunch of creatures to chump block with, for sure. That is a large Agris you got there. The question for me is, do I bounce a token or do I bounce Agris? Token makes more sense to me. Although that does make Ezreal vulnerable, right? That does make Ezreal vulnerable. And we know that they have a combat trick, so that's also something to consider. Yeah, let's just attack with both. Oh, my Cold Case Cracker also has Menace, so if they really want to kill it, they have to double block it. Well, the Ezreal, excuse me, has hexproof, so I don't have to worry about removal. Do I bounce the Agris? I definitely want to play the 6 mana card this turn. Yeah, let's bounce it. It costs 4 mana. And we're putting on lots and lots of pressure. They can suspect everything. But for example, next turn I can give my Ezreal lifelink. Next turn I can give my Ezreal lifelink, and I'm going to go up to 20. So that's going to be really good for us. And they were representing at least Auspicious Arrival. Yeah, they're going to target like my crab, I guess. Sure. And here, if they use Auspicious Arrival, it's not even that bad. It's like, hey, you use your combat spell for the turn. So yeah, I'm happy trading my Hotshot Investigators for Neighborhood Guardian plus Auspicious Arrival. That's fine. Or Felonious Rage, I guess. I don't think it's Felonious Rage, though. Yeah. All right, so we have a suspected crab. I definitely want to attack. I definitely want to give lifelink. Yeah, Lost in the Maze is being awesome here because my creatures just can't be targeted. And then I can just play. I'm at 16, so I probably can't die. Do I play another flyer here, or do I play Alquist? I'll play the Cold Case Cracker just because I think this way I have 3 evasive creatures, and if I find a way to kill this, I can probably just win. And I'm trying to think of like a combination. Like what if they have On the Job? That's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. If they have On the Job, they're 1 damage short of killing us. Now, if they have On the Job plus another combat trick, then we're dead. But they have to keep this Thopter back. I guess I could have attacked with this crab. I don't think it would have done much, but... Next turn, I can play Alquist and give my Ezreal Vigilance and Lifelink if I'm concerned about some racing situation. All right, so them cracking a clue is definitely good for us. They're looking for something. Offender at Large on Agris, sure. So this is going to be an attack for... Because they have to keep the Thopter back, sure. All right. Makeshift Binding, that's game. Woo! We are running into some awesome decks. But hey, we are also drawing our fair share of timely removal, and we are able to keep up with the power level of some of these decks. So that's good. That is nice. All right, we're at rank 69. Very nice. It is time for us to keep climbing. This hand is, it's got the hard evidence. Hopefully that'll draw us into more action. Hello, opponent. Got some blocking. Okay. I see your Novice Inspector, and I play my blue Novice Inspector. Hit him with the claws. All right, black, white. Block. Easiest block of my... Ooh, Neighborhood Guardian. Okay. Well, does mean this Reasonable Doubt will be used this turn. They have the awesome 1, 2, 3 play here. I'm countering anything here. It's just the tempo play. Just countering everything. You simply don't get greedy with a card like Reasonable Doubt because players can play around it. Then we can play Projector Inspector. If I find a land, I'll keep it. I don't know what I want to discard. Probably Burden of Proof. I think I'd rather just... over the next few turns, the way I feel like these turns are going to be sequenced, I'm just playing a creature every single turn. And then when it gets kind of late, I think I'd rather have Lost in the Maze over Cold Case Cracker. Okay. So they're probably going to make a 4/4 Neighborhood Guardian, because that's the, like, I'm not going to block that. I'm just going to take 4 from the Guardian. Next turn we'll run out the Cracker. And now, because once we hit 4 lands, it's not too bad. So now I can run the Cold Case Cracker out, and I can pitch the land now if I want. That gives us an evasive attacker. And it's also a creature that we don't mind blocking with, just because even if they do have a trick, we still get a clue here. And it's not often that they're going to be able to go double spell. I wonder if that previous turn, if they had the Inside Source and ran out the Automaton to play around Reasonable Doubt. Because that would have been a great play, if that was the case. I think this 2/2 is going to get the yeah. My deck doesn't really need to double the looting, so... Well, I do want to minimize the damage I take, although I shouldn't have kept up a Plains. That was bad, because I wanted to be able to use Lost in the Maze potentially. But we're going to still just keep things back for now. Crack this clue, try to find more answers. I could have blocked with Cold Case Cracker, but Cold Case Cracker is just such a good blocker on this board. This is an interesting attack. You know what this feels like? It feels like a dog walker. If it's a dog walker, what do we do? We'll just take it. It could be like a Basilica Stalker or a Defenestrated Phantom, any number of those cards. Alright, it's just a Shady Informant. Okay. We just didn't have great blocks there. Okay, Unauthorized Exit is very good. And that is a seasoned consultant. So I wonder if this is just going to be a good turn for us to go Lost in the Maze for 4, or if we want to just keep adding to our board. I think I just want to keep playing cards. Do I want to attack with my Cold Case Cracker? I think I do. Got to get in damage somehow, some way. All right, they're down to 2 cards. And they're targeting their Novice Inspector, and they want to get in for some damage here. I think I'm just going to chump the Shady Informant now. I don't want to trade with the Novice Inspector. They have 2 cards left. Extract a Confession. That is interesting. Each opponent's... Oh, I guess they just didn't have enough. I mean, this is definitely... I just sack my Seasoned Consultant here. And I believe I want to attack with these 2. It's kind of interesting. It's like bouncing the Novice Inspector is kind of awkward, but it's probably still the play. I'll keep the deuce. It doesn't give them the clue anyways. And now we can Lost in the Maze for 3. They get a clue. They're going to crack the clue. Hopefully they don't find anything too great here. Hopefully they just, honestly, hopefully they use a removal spell. All right, so let's just go ahead and play this for 3. If they had another creature, they would have played it, so. All right, let's cast Deduce. Let's crack our clue. Jaded Analyst. Let's play that. Let's discard planes, and let's attack. Okay. This is good. We also have Crime Stopper Sprite to shut down the Shady Informant, so very happy to do that. We can draw a card so the Jaded Analyst can also attack. So let's collect evidence. Let's stun the Shady Informant. Let's draw a card. Discard planes. And hit them for 9. Okay, this is looking pretty good. We have 2 flyers. My Cold Case Cracker has hexproof. So, and they're at 2 life. So this is going to be pretty tough. It's going to be pretty tough. Good game. All right. That was a good one. That was a good one. A lot of back and forth. A lot of back and forth. But I do like our deck. It's very tricky. It's very shifty. I go first. I have a 2-drop and a 3-drop. Let's go. Seasoned Consultant turn 2. Into Alquist turn 3, maybe. We'll see. These lands always bother me because I don't know what colors my opponents are playing. They're playing blue-black. So I want to play kind of the less valuable creature because they're representing a counterspell. Looks like it's Long Goodbye. Okay. This has a little more late game utility. Oh my, that is an Etrata though. This card is a problem. It's a 1/4 Death Touch. Whenever they hit me, they cloak the top card of their library. All right. So if they have an instant speed removal spell, this is pretty bad for us. If I double block, they can kill one of these creatures and then eat the other. I'm just blocking with the crab for now. The thing is, the blue-black decks don't have a lot of pump spells, so I can just keep adding to the board, potentially. I wonder what they have for 4 mana. That is a long goodbye on the Alquist. So, I have a couple of things I can do here. I can use Lost in the Maze for 2. Now, I just hope they don't have Reasonable Doubt. But if I use Lost in the Maze for 2, I can counter the long goodbye and stall the Etrata for a turn. So I think I'm going to do that and just hope they don't have the counterspell. And if they have the counterspell, then it's just like, you know what I mean? It's like they have everything. Is it another long goodbye? Unauthorized exit? Like, what can this be? But this basically counters at least this copy of long goodbye. And they still take the damage. So this allows us to build up our board a little bit. But then Trada's coming back. So it's not like it's just over. Okay, Reasonable Doubt will go. Yeah, we don't have a lot of good answers to Etrata, unfortunately. I'm just going to run out all my creatures and hope for the best. All right, so that's a murder. We can double block the Etrata, and I'm just going to do it. Like, if they have another murder, so be it. Okay. I mean, that was good, but it's just so hard. You just can't give them cloaks every turn, you know what I mean? And they kept the card on top. Would really like to find a binding here. Or a large creature. Okay. That is an out. It's a very bad one. But what I can do is block the Etrata and then Burden of Proof end of turn. Living Conundrum. Did not expect that card to be played. All right. Cold Case Cracker. I'm actually not going to crack this clue because they can have more unscrupulous agents. So I'd rather crack the clue end of turn. Undercity. Oh, that exiles. That's... Oh, man. That's so good against the Cracker. Wow. Okay. We got quite the fight here in front of us. We need to find something now. We have some clues to crack. Makeshift Binding is an option. Probably just have to use it here. I'm just debating whether or not they have Unscrupulous Agent or the Counterspell. Surveillance Monitor. Okay, so at least we can bounce the Thopter here. But they have a little more action than we do. It is what it is. Let's bounce the Thopter, play a Thinking Cap. And, I mean, it's even-ish. Even-ish. We had to fight through that Etrata. Okay, it's not even. They probably... Okay. Well, any creature? Nope. Okay, they get to surveil. All right, well. Look, our red-green opponent got flooded. We get flooded. It is something that... It's a lot of lands in a row. That's a lot of lands in a row. I think we tried our best, and simply a game that there was not too much that could have been done, I think, to get out of it. That was just a loss where you go, look, our opponent had a good deck. They had good interaction. They tried to put a lot of pressure on us, and we lost. Okay, 5-2, sitting at rank 76, climbed about 40 ranks. We are on the draw with this hand. We have a 2-drop and a reasonable doubt and an unauthorized exit, so I think we can keep this, along with a projector inspector if we find a land. Our opponent went Scene of the Crime turn 1. Do I want Deduce or Jaded Analyst? Nope. I think I'm just going to pass here. Because number 1, they could also have reasonable doubt. Number 2, if they play something, I can cast a reasonable doubt of my own to counter their face down card. And then I can, if I don't draw a land, I can just cast Deduce to try to find a land drop. We did find a land, which is really great because now we can just go Projector Inspector. Take action and a discard, probably Hotshot Investigators. I like this card in the late game, but just right now, not where you want to be. Do I want to play Alquist or Jaded Analyst? Alquist is a better body, so let's just play that. Let's discard the Jaded Analyst. Let's attack. Just want to hit my land drops forever, so I can start at least draw 2 cards off of a clue. I have not used the second ability yet, because like you need to be in a spot where you're like you can take the turn off to crack your clues, and oftentimes you're just constantly wanting to add to the board. So for the most part, this is just a 3-mana 3/3 vigilance because you need to get to like 5 or 6 lands in play before this gets you some value. All right, Furtive Courier from the opponent. I can go for the tempo play here. Like I said, generally with Ezreal, you don't want to just jam it immediately. And they didn't play a land this turn. So yeah, let's go for a tempo play. If it's a land, I'm keeping it. I don't want that. And do we want to add to the board or do we want to cast Deduce? That's actually really interesting. I think I want to... I actually think I want to cast Deduce. And the reason being is the Fairy Snoop adds to the board for pressure, but the Deduce gives me a much higher chance of being able to run out the Ezreal with a land, right? Because this gives me an extra look at a land. If my opponent just passes with a bunch of mana up, we can also just start casting the Sphinx's Revelation part of this. Which I might do. Let's see. If they have a counterspell, they could... I mean, it's not crazy. It's not crazy to counter the Deduce there. They're probably going to crack a clue here. I don't want to miss my land drop this turn. And I don't think this is a game where like the pressure I'm putting on with these creatures is what's going to matter. So let's do this. Let's start getting value with the Alquist. If it's wrong, I don't want to be right. Do we want this in play? Yeah, let's put a flyer in play. I just don't see myself... I think it's going to be a while before we can like play this face down, then turn it face up, and then try to get some value out of this card. Next turn, if my opponent's tapped out, I'm going to want to play the Ezreal. Then I have the Snoop and the Consultant. Then I also have Alquist that I want to use to crack this clue and draw a bunch of cards. So there's pressure on my opponent. They're probably going to crack this clue and look for some answers. But at least with this board state, they're not really the... I mean, I'm okay if they attack me with this card. Oh, that's good. That is good. Okay. So now the Furtive Courier gets to attack, and it's because they sacked an artifact, it's unblockable. Does it say unblockable? Can't be blocked. Okay. And they get to loot, which is great. But we're just going to slam the Ezreal now. They did have no more lies, so good that we kept the Ezreal here. We can attack with the other cards. So let's go ahead and play Mistway Spy. Attack with Mistway Spy. And then let's slam Ezreal with two mana to protect it. We brought our block constructed deck here. Hopefully it's good enough. Oh, they have red. So they're blue-white and they're splashing the Satchel. And the Satchel would be good here. The Satchel would definitely be good. I don't know if it'll be enough, but it would definitely be good because they can go Satchel, attack with the... Well, I guess you can't really attack. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh. That is an opposing Ezreal. Well, that changes things. Wait, why is this tapped? Oh, they needed to tap it for mana, I see. Oh, that's really interesting. I don't actually know what to do. Do I just attack with my Ezreal? I don't think they can block. But then do I have a good attack? The thing is, if they have a combat trick, it's pretty bad for me. And if the trade happens, I think I'm ahead. That's the thing. Although I don't know that I'm in a position to use my Alquist just yet. It does seem like a good opportunity here to get the Criminologist off the battlefield. And then I can still play the Seasoned Consultant here and still keep up Unauthorized Exit to save my Alquist if they try to kill it. I think the Alquist is going to be really, really good. And using up all my mana to try to disrupt what they're doing seems quite nice here. And then use the Alquist afterwards to kind of unload. It looks like they're just playing straight 3 colors. We'll see. The question here is just how much removal do you have? If they target my Alquist with a removal spell, do I bounce it? But it's unclear. So that's a torch. I mean, okay. Well, with the torch, let's just bounce it. Let's hope they don't have another counterspell. Okay. I want the lands. I really do. Now, if they have a way to kill Ezreal, that would be very good. Let's see what they choose to do here with the Ezreal. If they sack an artifact now to give it... I don't even know what you would give it, but the thing is, the longer this game goes, the better it is for me, generally speaking. Just because I have this Alquist, I have one more clue in play. Do I double block the Furtive Courier? Oh, they discarded Out Cold? I think they want to... Okay, so they're sacking an artifact before blocks, just so that the Furtive Courier is unblockable. Okay. We'll take it all. They give it lifelink, which I really do not care about. But them discarding the Out Cold is definitely big. That is definitely big. Sanctuary Wall, okay. All right, let's go ahead and attack. Attacking with this doesn't do much. Now, do I want to give this lifelink? I think so. If they kill the Alquist, or I just want to be like I don't want to throw this game away. I feel like with 3 clues in play, we're still okay, and I just want to make sure that I just somehow don't get run over. And I'm still going to keep up a land here to protect the Ezreal. And now we're at 18, they're at 10. They only have 1 clue left. They also have Scene of the Crime, though, which does act as another clue. 4 mana here. Satchel. Yep. Satchel is great. All right, so now we're tied on clues. We're tied on clues, but I do have Alquist. I do have Alquist. Now, they can't tap anything down with the Sanctuary Wall. We don't have that much removal, but we do have a very important card. Lost in the Maze is still a very, very important card for us. Because because that can potentially help us set up for a very, very big attack. Okay, so they get to get in for 8 again this turn because they're going to crack a clue. How many cards left in their deck? Okay, 20. The Satchel was really good, though, because they get a 1/1 flyer every turn, and they got 2 clues here. They're going to gain the life here. They're going to make a 1/1 flyer. I might just keep the Mistway Spy back. Also, it doesn't really block the Satchel anyways, because I want to just gain... I basically just want to gain a ton of life here and draw a bunch of cards. That is my plan here. All right, Sphinx's Revelation. Let's get it done. Do they have to crack clues end of turn just to try to find answers here? Now, I can just choose not to get super greedy here. Oh, they're cracking a clue. They're digging. Because I don't know... Like, I can also just play like they don't have combat tricks. Good game, though. A lot of power on both sides. Hopefully, I don't deck myself. Like, hopefully, I can just have enough here. So they didn't crack their clue. They cracked their Thopter to give Ezreal hexproof. Okay. Furtive Courier getting in. Not much we can do. Another Satchel. Okay. All right. That made things a lot more interesting. You know, honestly, end of turn, I mean, I guess they do have Sanctuary Wall. So maybe I gotta be careful here, because they can't tap down my Ezreal. All right, let's do this for 5. Wow, that was bad. Holy cow! Oh my gosh, that was bad. That was so incredibly bad. So they can tap something with the Sanctuary Wall, so I probably just want to attack here and gain some life. The thing is, am I happy trading the Ezreals? No, I guess not. I mean, all these cards are terrible. Well, they didn't tap anything with Sanctuary Wall. That's really big for us. But the thing is, we're going to just lose to all these flyers. So, yeah. So we're going to need the Alquist to do some work here for us. 6. Okay. So at this point, we just want to flood the board and basically go for... we want to just flood the board and go for a Lost in the Maze kill if possible. I don't know if that's going to be possible, but that is kind of our route to victory. I don't think that I don't know that we're going to get there, but that's kind of how we're supposed to go, how we're going to be able to come back from this. And I don't need to draw any extra cards here. And then we can play... Hard Evidence doesn't do much. The thing is, what are we looking at here? 7 mana? I can lock down the Forensic Researcher. Let's play out the cap. Yeah, let's play this out too. 2, 4, 6. What a game. We're gonna get decked. Oh man. What detective do we equip? Maybe the Mistway Spy. Spread the love a little bit. We also have Escape Tunnel. I don't think there's a way I can just like force a bunch of damage though. I'm gonna attack with Ezreal. Okay. I'm happy eating things. Although I guess they can just sack. They can sack this, yeah. The thing is, so I won't be able to stop the Ezreal. I won't be able to stop or tap down the Ezreal with the Lost in the Maze. So that's going to make killing them much more difficult. But look, if I can draw my entire deck and still not win, it is what it is. I mean, Double Satchel is great. Torch the Witness is great. They have a lot of phenomenal cards here. And we have but just a couple turns here to try to get something happening here. 5, 6, 7. The thing is, even if I tap everything that's in play, I just don't know that it's enough. 4, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, we have no more lands left. The remaining 3 cards in our deck are all spells. And our opponent's definitely on the deck me plan. Jaded Analyst, okay. All of the blockers. All right, that is another creature we can play. But they're going to get 2 more creatures here? Goodness. You know, I think I'm just going to go for the big Lost in the Maze here. Wow, they didn't make Thopters. They actually chose not to make Thopters. I wonder if they have a counterspell. They could, but I feel like our best route to victory here is just resolving a large Lost in the Maze. We can do it for 10. And there's no point even targeting the Ezreal. All right, let's see what you got. Gravestone Strider. All right. All right, they have a counterspell. I mean, I think this was just like our only shot. Yeah. That was really our only shot at victory. I think we're just dead now. Because they can just make 2 Thopters every single turn with the Ezreal in play. It's okay. At least we died. Honorably. I don't know. What can I do if my opponent draws their whole deck? You know what I mean? What is one to do? What is one to do? Why did they double block? I just don't know that I can win if I don't just go for all of it, right? They already discarded a No More Lies. So, but Ezreal plus Satchel, very, very strong. You know what I would have liked? Remember one of our previous opponents had the Living Conundrum? Living Conundrum would be nice. The Satchel is just, especially in this type of matchup, it's ridiculous. They get to untap the Satchel with the Researcher too, which is a nice bonus. So, okay. I want to see what my last card is. I just don't actually know what it is. But well played, opponent. I thought I had the trump card in the Ezreal, but they also had one. So it is what it is. Oh, I know how I want to die though. I know how I want to die. This is what we're waiting for, okay? This is how I'm going to die. Are you ready for this? I'm going to give them the good game. And we have 13 mana, so let's do it for 10. Oh, no. No, we have 14 mana. 11. Do we get to gain the life? We draw 11 cards! Yeah, we died at 29 life. 11 cards, they're in the queue. We'll draw them in the next game. Oh well. You know, it's okay though. It's okay. Honestly, going 5-3 after first picking the Ezreal and not 100% being confident that this was necessarily the lane that we wanted to be in, but Ezreal just recognizing that this is powerful enough that we're willing to fight a little bit for the blue-white cards just to make it happen, just so we can play the Ezreal, ended up working. I mean, it felt like blue was reasonably open, right? We have a ton of blue cards. White's obviously always contested, but double Inspector, double Cold Case Cracker, the Alquist was great to go with the Ezreal, and we had enough interaction and tricks to close out some games. So this ended up performing pretty well. We ran into some really, really powerful decks as well, which of course will happen with the power level of some of the rares in the set, but can't be too disappointed with a 5-3 finish when it's not like we had the ultimate blue-white detectives deck necessarily. We just had a solid deck, and kind of going into this, if we got 5 wins with this, I would say, okay, yeah, I'll take it. Because it's It's not one of those decks where you go, oh my gosh, I can't lose. I mean, we did have Ezreal, one of the best rares in the set, but oftentimes, I don't know that we won any. Did we win a game that we cast Ezreal? Maybe. But I felt like most of the games we lost or our opponent one-upped us in some way. But it's okay. 5-3, climbed up a few slots. Would have liked to climb a little bit more, but maybe we can get that done tomorrow. Before I sign off, I do want to say if you enjoyed this content and wanted to support this channel, I do have a Patreon channel. Shout out to all the patrons currently, and the link is in the description below. You can check it out. There's all kinds of little perks that you can see once you check out the website. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like or subscribe button for more daily videos just like this. I'll catch you tomorrow.